And good morning. Welcome to the Morning Constitution with Joel Hawksley, brought to you by J. and Washington. Thank you for being here. We have a lot to cover today and short time to cover it. So let's get started right away. I'd like to thank John, our producer, for coming in this morning. Was hoping to have Christian Suarez join us, but he's probably running late, so I will wait on him. But today, there's been a lot in the news. And the one thing that we had covered before and we'll cover again is Reedy Creek. And if you're not familiar with Reedy Creek, this is like the equivalent of it's like a city or a town. It's got a charter. It's Walt Disney World actually sits all in Reedy Creek, and they make all the decisions because they put everybody on the board. So that would be like your mayor and your commissioners all being selected by a company, Disney. So with that said, Reedy Creek was taken away from their management when the governor was trying to pass legislation, the Parent Bill of Rights, and the opponents pushed the narrative that this was a don't say gay bill, and I won't go there. So media loves to take those little clippets that sound good. So don't say gay sounds good because it's going to get people's attention. So they're going to continue that. So Reedy Creek is basically Walt Disney World has they can build anything they want, whenever they want. They can push it right through the board, no problem. Now, that was not going to happen. He took it away. The legislature took it away. He asked for the legislature to take it away. So, where do we go from there? So, they had a special session to address this, concern, and they met up in Tallahassee, and this week they have come to a solution. Reedy Creek is to be renamed, and with its renaming, it's going to also be the board's going to be selected by the governor. So I'm trying to open a link here, which is having a hell of a time. So DeSantis is going to get to choose the Disney Reedy Creek board members under this new bill. This new bill has been pretty much introduced by Fred Hawkins, and Disney World's Reedy Creek Improvement District under this House bill will also be called the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District. So those are the changes that are made. David and I will cover more on that later. I keep looking over here because I'm trying to control what I'm doing, and I'm not doing very good. So, that out of the way. The next thing I wanted to talk about, since we have Disney in the Disney is our topic, I want to talk about Disney being slammed for anti-white propaganda. You're like, white? What? Anti-white propaganda? What are you talking about? Well, I'm talking about the reboot on the Proud Family. It was controversial in the past. It has its controversies in its original form. The dad's kind of dopey, and there's just a lot of stereotype in it. But this is a black family, and they rebooted it to make sure that they made specific changes to make it more gay friendly, to make it more more African American friendly, more like getting away from the stereotypes. But they didn't get rid of the stereotypes. they still have the stereotypes in there. What they did do is they added some stuff that absolutely takes away from the actual intent of the intent. So I was very, very interested because one day, so I'm the, how do I put this? My granddaughter loves the show, so I'm not really bashing the show. I'm bashing the writers and everybody for taking it into a different place, taking it where it probably shouldn't have gone. Because Disney used to appeal to everybody. Now it's trying to be what we call woke. So I'm in my living room. I've allowed my granddaughter to access Disney Plus. Hey, you can listen to this. You can watch this show. That's fine. I have no problem. You love that show. So good to go. This is what I get. Okay, so I don't know how you feel about that. That's a conversation that we will have at a different time. That conversation is going to be in depth, right? That's going to be, hey, this is woke country. We're going to talk about woke. We're going to talk about Disney, but it shocked me because I'm just walking around. I'm just walking around my living room and trying to get something done on the computer, and I think everybody stopped, and everybody immediately looked at the TV, and everybody had a different reaction. So I'm just going to wait for a second because we have when we have a guest slip in late, it's kind of like always going to get that echo because they all want to hear themselves on the. Check. Yeah, there you go. Hold on, I'm gonna get you. I think you're on 3. Two. Or whatever. They're all mics are hot right now, so you're just gonna watch and listen to yourself.
How are we doing? Hear me?
Hold on, we can hear you, but not yet because I got to get you get you in.
I had to do hair and makeup on my own, you know.
See, now you have an echo. What are you
Do I?
doing? Are you playing this 2 ways? Are you recording it or something?
Got the mic on mute.
Yeah, you should have all your mics on mute.
Yep.
Yeah? Is that? It's coming from you.
Okay.
Da 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 da. Coming from your phone, maybe? Okay. Okay, where's it coming from? That's coming from over there.
Oh, you know what it was? I think I had the volume on.
Oh, so there we go.
Yeah.
We figured it out. Look, now get yourself in a good. People are going to see you now.
Okay.
Everybody, this is the executive director of our wonderful Pulsar our political salsa, which is executive director is uh, Christian Suarez. We are so happy to have him come on board. We stole his we stole his we stole his whole history and just gave him a different position because we wanted this to be big. We saw so much talent in Christian and we saw so much potential in Pulsa, political salsa, a immersion into the Latin culture. So I thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
It's Black History Month, so we may start talking about things that you were not expecting. But please tell everybody about Pulsa and where we're at for
Political salsa. So it's a straw poll. It's a convention. We've been always careful to call it a debate series. Candidates don't tend to like that, so we'll call it sort of a roundtable convention. But we end up having local media representatives come and ask questions of the candidates. So we will give them a staging, and sometimes we'll prepare and we'll have maybe the sheriffs go first. And while they're doing their debate or their conversation with media representatives, we have a convention going on in the main floor. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of energy, right?
Well, I'm going to tell you that I'm not get the echo again. Why am I getting the echo again? Probably the mics. What? No, it's still getting an echo. Well, my show is going to have an echo. It's going to.
I don't want it to be me.
It's going to be fun.
Responsible for that.
Well, I got everything built in, so.
Okay, maybe we can go back and post.
Look, you got your hand in the way. We're live, you know that, right?
No, I'm sorry.
We're just not recording, so no. If anybody actually were to get on here, they'd see it. But we're basically recording live.
The goal of political salsa is to connect the electorate to those who want to lead them. And so It's an exercise in free speech, basically, right? It's a way to get people in a room together and discuss issues.
So you're only doing this you're doing this biannually, correct?
Right. We did it every 2 years, starting in 2014, 2015.
So then Jay in Washington takes over and puts it under their umbrella, and now it's annual.
Yeah, so we can take a couple steps back.
Whoa, I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying.
I'm not in a rush if you're not.
I'm just saying, it's now annual.
Yeah,
that's a big change, right?
It is.
So now go into a bit of the history, because I don't want to be just giving them something. I want them to be able to share, but I wanted them to see how motivated Jay in Washington was and how much potential we saw. That we didn't want to just do this every 2 years.
Sure. So some of the history. Political salsa was born in 2014. So
It's gonna be fun.
Oh, good. I haven't had a chance to take a look at
No, this is just fresh. It's gonna run a little slower
brand
because
new media. Okay.
so there you go. Co-founder Christian Lloyd Suarez explains, which he just did. So
There's me and my
we're
son.
gonna do the voiceover soon. But yeah, the transition's slow for some reason in the video, but
Okay.
when we actually do the movie and when we do the sound, the God,
So everyone's seeing this for the first time with me, Joe?
yes, everybody.
How exciting. Those are our
everybody's seeing-
logos. Yeah, look at that.
This is yours. This is yours, just on steroids. I'm hoping.
No. I love it. I love it.
So I'm hoping like that. There's your dad.
Yeah, there's my old man.
Talked about that,
Grand Marshal of the Puerto Rican Day Parade there.
and
You
then
know,
when we get this thing to go in, oh, there's John, Darren,
representing the blue
Yeah.
team, representing the red team. Oh, I like that. Oh, look at that elephant.
So and then, so what happened was they birthed this political salsa. So it says
Yeah.
was born,
Uh-huh.
and then there's Barry University sitting
you
there.
go.
And okay, we
That's
have that.
nice. Very nice.
You
That's
know,
my law school.
Yeah, that's his law school.
Yeah.
Anybody can go to law school. though. But you know, somebody always has to say that when they have a friend that is so down to earth. You know, you have to say that. So this is much 2014 as I
Yeah.
could do.
Look at that. Philip Arroyo's in there.
I'm trying to match the pictures, and that was a difficult thing to do. So
Yeah. And I didn't send them in order. Sorry about that, Joe.
and now she stalled out on me for some reason.
Oh, it looks good though so far. I like what you've done here with the different screen shares and you
Yeah.
bifurcated it. Yeah, I think so. I say 2014. I guess this could have been 2015. My recollections is 2014. But yeah, there's everybody right there in that picture.
Yeah. So
David Santiago, Bob Cortez, John Cortez, Victor Torres.
here we go. Finally getting a little
Aaron
energy.
Soto.
We're getting a little energy. I think I have so much on my computer right now. It's like trying his darndest to get this out. But this is the first time it's been shown. We're watching it for the first time too. I mean, I literally saved this in an MP4 format last night, and I
Yeah.
said, "Will it work?" Cross my fingers. I hope it will work. But it has. But it's very slow. I would have needed to probably reduce it a little bit, but.
Yeah.
We're gonna have you do a voiceover, so
Cool.
that's why I was wanting to show it to you. But
Okay.
political salsa, everything you just said, the whole thing goes in. And then it goes to the hostile takeover.
Not at all. I'd love to explain that also. In fact, people always wonder. I would love to do things that would. I like demonstrations and transparency constantly. I like demystifying and showing people exactly how how the sausage is made or whatever. So I'd love to share that story with people to say, how is it that this actually happened? And I think your history is particularly suited to work with political salsa. It's a little bit more history. My father was a Democrat when he was elected in '99.
Yeah, but I'm gonna put a little caveat on there, right? Political salsa is important because that's one place where David and I truly got to know each other.
Right.
Because there was so much going on.
Right.
That we kind of stood back and said, what is going on?
Right.
So I want to share that because that's part of what you're going to be talking about.
Now, I don't take credit for you guys meeting and anything like that, but I tell you, I definitely know that I met Joel Hawksley independent of David Washington, right? I met you guys separately. So it's very cool for me personally to see that you guys started working together, and it just made sense to be a natural home. You guys have the structural wherewithal, and you guys are substantial here in the community, and I think you guys definitely have what it's going to take to move us to the next.
Yeah, but we don't have an entire compound called Suarez.
I can't wait to help you guys with that. You guys are moving to a new location soon.
Yes.
You're gonna have your new compound, huh?
Hey, why don't you have your dad move us in there?
He actually asked about that. He asked if you haven't signed any leases. He's like, I have space available right down the street.
Yeah, but he wants me to pay for it. That's the thing. I could stay here and pay for it. We don't make a lot of money except every 2 years. So we're putting everything in all our eggs in one basket with this and many, 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 many things.
He's got a big building over there, 613. As a matter of fact, the whole thing is empty right now. But so he's not earning any rent on it right now. So who knows?
I can give you $10 a month. Hey, you remember those leases where the government pays like $1 a month piece of land.
I heard of him.
So go ahead. So we actually met independent of each other because
Right.
my relationship was with the Republican Party,
Right.
which your dad joined.
Right.
So that's where I knew your dad.
Right. Right.
And then David, you knew David because he was consulting on many of the campaigns, Bonilla and et cetera. I was working for John Micah at the time.
Right.
So
Okay. No, that's fascinating. Right?
So I was
kidding.
trying to make sure that
I didn't know that.
you were trying to make sure that John Micah got there, and we wanted to have your dad do something. I can't remember, but yeah, I was interning with him, and then I had started working for him.
I didn't know that. And that was a big deal for us in particular in 2016. I remember when he agreed to come be a part of the show. It was sort of a last minute thing because he was a big deal. We didn't know if he was interested in showing up.
But you got Stephanie Murphy too, and that was tough because she wasn't showing up anywhere. She just walked in the room, walked around, and left. I mean, it's still more than she did in any other event. So I'm not just going to give you credit. That's why Political Salsa is like the place to go. Nobody wanted to miss it.
Here's the thing about Political Salsa is that as grateful as I am for all the campaigns that have showed up over the years, I understand they do not want to be there. That's the truth. They don't really want to be there. But if you can get people, actual voters in the room, which is what we've been, good at, is getting real people in the room. Well, they really can't deny you. They have to come. So just being candid, I tried to get that one candidate you just mentioned, Miss Murphy, into the room. She wouldn't return my phone calls. So it was the people that compelled her there. So when I saw her out in the parking lot, it was raining. And instead of coming inside out of the rain, she waited in the rain for Darren Soto to show.
Oh, yeah.
She could walk in with Darren Soto and then looked at me and said, "Hey," because John Micah was on the stage speaking at that point. So,
Right.
So what about me? Where I've been trying to reach you. It was a real dust up moment for us, as a matter of fact. It was one of my first real political moments, so to speak, because I thought, but if you're not answering my phone calls, how do you just walk in and then expect the microphone to be given to you?
She's like really close to my heart. I mean, she's probably the only congresswoman in my entire time that have actually. She's so friendly, but she's so disliked. I can't stand her. Like, she got mad at me because I said, your very first vote was against veterans, making it look like we're all insane because you didn't want to give the waiver for Mad Dog Maddox. So he's a soldier and he just needed a waiver. And then she wanted to gripe that he wouldn't come to the House of Representatives to present himself. And I said, he only has to do that to the Senate. I said, who do you think you are?
Wow.
She gets up on her tippy toe. When she gets angry, she gets up on her tippy toes and she leans into it. I can explain that vote. I didn't even go over to her to talk to her other than to say hi. But when she got right there, she leaned in and she said, I can explain that because he didn't come to the House of Representatives. I said, he wasn't supposed to. If anybody should have come, it should have been Donald Trump because he asked for the waiver. She boom, boom. We both, where's that one?
There's the drink.
Okay. Now that's a late one. But I'm telling you, she's so strange. Now she's retired.
Yeah. Well, I've had some interesting run-ups with her. In fact, in 2018, I got myself in some trouble trying to protect her because I thought, again, if my job is to get everyone in a room and I create the sandbox for everyone to play in, my own personal things don't matter. I've got to rise above this. And I was watching Jacob Engels stalk her, just relentlessly stalk her, show up at all her events. And I thought, this is a problem because if you look at our cover art, Jacob Engels happens to be in the crowd shop. The guy's there every year. Right? It's a free event to the public.
Well, the guy is, so to explain that, he was trying to, as a reporter.
Right. Sorry. Yes, as a reporter.
He had access and he was overdoing his access.
Right.
And he was really trying to get her to say something.
Yeah.
And it was just
jumping out of the woods, jumping out of the woods in front of her house.
I don't want to piss off Jacob Engels. I do have to.
Jacob's my buddy. Jacob's my buddy.
I do have to live in this community, and he is
I think what I'm saying is fair. But I think Jacob would admit.
But he's a friend, so
sure, okay. He's a friend of mine too.
When I say he was harassing her, I'm not meaning it in a bad way. For me,
ambushing her, I think is the word.
Yes, ambushing. And I was entertaining. That was entertaining for me. And I
Sure.
think it was entertaining. It helped his blog and his website. It was booming.
Right. Right.
You know, his Proud Boys were happy and everything else.
So for me, I'm like, how do I handle this though? Right. I mean, it's a real consideration. You think I want her to feel welcome. I've already had an issue with her before. I want her to feel welcome. How do I handle this? If he's going to show up, I can't very well tell him you can't come. It's a free event to the public.
Right. But the reason you invited him, the audience right now doesn't understand, is you took both extremes.
I did.
You took the far left also was going to be here, but the far left wasn't in a fight with anybody at that time.
In 2016, we learned, and now Donald Trump still won a good 45% of our vote or something like that in our straw poll, which, you know, we're very proud of actually, because it showed, all right, well, we're not in the tank. You can't say we're one type of organization that only gets one certain type of person in the room. So we were proud of that, as a matter of fact. But the larger point, we thought, well, because Trump won, well, clearly there's something we're missing. There's some part of the electorate we're missing, and it probably has something to do with the internet. So we thought, you know, my first thought was I reached out to a gentleman I followed online here locally. His name's TJ Legacy Cole. He's a writer for the Atlanta Sentinel. He does all of his own stuff, and he's been, you know, he's has some legitimacy in the community. He's been part of some of the police review boards for some of their conduct. So I thought, would you be interested in doing a little show, sort of at the beginning of Political Salsa? Maybe if candidates are coming in, I can bring candidates to you and you can interview them. He says, yeah, I'd be interested in that. I said, well, what would be really interesting to me is if you'd be willing to sit down somebody who's your ideological opponent. And I asked him if he was familiar with Jacob Engels. He says, I'm very familiar with Jacob Engels. He's been trying to work with me. So TJ is, you know, all credit to TJ. He's courageous. The guy says, yeah, he goes, I'll do that. So we called Jacob, and credit to Jacob. The guy is also courageous. He says, of course I'll do it. We decided to go down and I make sure I get the leadership of my organization involved. So what do you guys think? I brought it to the president, which at the time was Marie Mason, the former president, my father. And so what do you guys think about this concept, this idea of them co-hosting a show together, interviewing candidates, and kind of being a check on one another? They love the idea. Everybody says this is great. So we go down and we do like a promo together, me, Jacob, and TJ, and we take some pictures together and we do a little commercial. And they do something together. And I'm going to tell you, the first take, they nailed it. They only shot twice more just because it seemed like it's great. Nothing was written, but they were able to make a promo finishing each other's sentences. They were that good. And they asked me, can we leak this? Like a photo, can we kind of leak it to the internet? And, you know, I had never really gone viral before. I thought this could be fun. Sure. You know, why not? And, you know, by the time I got home, we had about 150 comments, and it really shook things up. We got a lot of feedback, and a lot of it, mostly negative, was, you know, how could you, and who, you know, you're providing a platform, all that stuff, right? You're going to give a platform to this guy. So we got a lot of pushback as to whether we should do this event.
What you did?
Well, actually, we didn't do it right away. So Joel, we were threatened to cancel it, right? I met with Marie. We called the Democratic Socialists, and they said, you know, how could you do this? And I spoke to them directly. They said, you can't have this guy. He's a racist. And I said, well, here's the thing. They contacted me. The Proud Boys contacted me, and they said, we'd like you to meet, and Roger Stone would like to meet you as well. And I say, okay, because I have some questions. If I'm inviting you to my event, the Southern Poverty Law Center has said that these guys are a hate group, right? So if I work with lawyers, and we use the Southern Poverty Law Center as, you know, we use that sometimes for our arguments. So how could you ignore that, right? It wouldn't be fair. So I went down to meet them, and I asked the Proud Boy president, why would the Southern Poverty Law Center consider you guys a hate group? And he tells me, Christian, it becomes a cost-benefit analysis at some point. So he tells me, look, we've gone against the Westboro Baptist Church. He shows me some video clips. I'm aware of that. I know those are the people who God hates, you know, gay people, whatever. That's so. And they also did like a drive for Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria. I'm also aware of that. He says, listen, we've done things in the community to fight against that. They're not going to update the records. And at some point, you just figure, you know, we can't fight it. We call ourselves Western chauvinists. Look at our black friend right here wearing our shirt. Yeah, okay. All those things pass constitutional muster. I can't reach in his heart and his mind and tell you what he is, right? If you're saying the right words, you're allowed room. To me, okay. All right. That passed for me.
So take a deep breath.
Sorry.
Take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And look at your screen.
Salsa and soul.
That's exactly what he was calling it, right? Am I right? That's what.
Who's that?
That's what you guys were doing. You're
Salsa
trying
and
to-
Soul?
Yeah.
No. This was political salsa. Actually, this was going to be a little show at the beginning. Salsa and Soul was a little spin-off show we did afterward.
Oh,
That was
really?
more so just for Black and Browns, trying to explore that avenue, see if we can create another little silo for a different community there. And
Okay.
it was okay. It was fine. We haven't really explored it anymore, but we can certainly was looking.
Well,
at
it's
later
Black
on.
History Month, so I figured I would put something up, but
So I'll try to tie a bow in this. So what happened? What happened?
everybody got in a room, they held hands, and they said, "We love each other so much. Can't you come?"
No. Here's what I'm on the phone with Megan, okay, the Democratic Socialist, who tells me I'm naive, that no racist ever admit to being a racist, and that I'm naive. Bottom line of it is this: we decided to go forward with it until I had a sponsor call me. I had a sponsor call and say, "Oh, I feel like I'm being bamboozled. I'm tricked. My money's already down." I'm not talking about a lot of money, but to be fair, he wasn't happy with it. So I explained the concept to him. I thought he understood it. He still wasn't comfortable. Okay. So I pulled him. I said, "Okay, guys, we're finally." No, that's right. There was a vote. The board of directors voted to cancel that segment.
Wait a minute, you guys were democracy?
We had a board of directors.
You got together and you really voted? Oh my goodness!
We had, no, in Miami, as a matter of fact, that's all the lawyers who weren't even a part of the event. They got together in a room, made a call, and decided they were going to cancel the event. So when I called the people that were telling me there's going to be, there's like some sort of a boycott happening. So I said, "Okay, guys, you win. Jacob's out." The first thing they said was, "What about TJ?" They want to make sure that he was out also. So I just think that's a fascinating thing. They want to handpick the media that's in the room, essentially.
Well,
So-
if I remember correctly, they both still showed up.
They did.
Now
because-
that's you canceled them, and they're not supposed to be there. You didn't. I mean, you had security. You always have security, but it was not like they stood at the door.
That's right.
Like they were gonna be there, and they
With
were
their guns. They had
were
their guns on them.
and they were gonna do their show.
That's right. They walked in. In fact, they didn't wait because they knew it was free to the public. So even though we said that the segment's canceled, I still text Jacob, "Hey man, you're still welcome to come, of course." But I didn't know what the feedback was going to be. Were they going to be upset? And they showed up, of course, with all of their guns. About 8 Proud Boys or so. I had told my nephew, "Hey, be on the lookout, be aware, and let me know if they come." So I'm on the stage doing the opening ceremony, about to give the pledge when my nephew tells me they're here. I walk down, and I see them walking right past registration. Because in their mind, it's free. I don't have to register. I don't have to tell you who I am. And they have hats on and guns in their waist. So people are nervous, right? But I go greet them. And I say, "Guys, I need you to remove your lid. The pledge is about to come on." These guys are patriotic. They get that. They take their lids off. We do the pledge together. Since the pledge is over, I lean in and I say, "I need you to keep your lid off, please. But listen, follow me. And I want to take you and show you guys where to get some beer. You guys are welcome to stay." To which he responds to me, "Would you like me to bring my hat to my car?" I said, "Please, no. We want you to have it with you and be proud." Funny enough, as this is happening, a guy comes walking by, an older guy with a cowboy hat. The guy's like, "What about that hat?" So I have to go chase this old man down, pull his cowboy hat off. Anyway, but long and short of it, then TJ came as well. And then TJ, I ultimately put a lanyard around him, and he went and interviewed Andrew Gillum at some point. So, when the president came to me and said, "This is exactly what we voted against," I said, "Yeah, but you guys didn't make the other vote, which is to remove me." Right? This is early days of cancellation, so they didn't really have it down yet. They didn't know how to cancel people, but you want to cancel my idea, but you didn't remove me. So I'm still in a position to make choices. So I did. So they still came anyway. And you know what? And then anybody who was complaining online, they didn't show up anyway.
No, this is where I love the fact you said that, because it goes into my segment where I absolutely can't understand how the people that make the most noise, they don't do anything. Like they're planted. And so I'm planted, right? Donald Trump is running against Biden, and I'm planted in my seat. I feel confident that Trump has got everything under control. There's no way he could lose, because he's already told me the only way he could lose is if it's fixed, right?
Right.
So here I am. Some of them Democrats, some independents, some Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the people that showed up at Washington, D.C. Because when they started pulling papers and the reporters did a little piece on it, and I always talk about these little pieces because that's where you get these Santoses from. The little piece that came out in Long Island in a little newspaper had a lot of weight and nobody paid attention. And then all of a sudden you got, "Hey, guess what? That guy's a liar, and we already told you so." So they reported, right? They started going through their voter records. Some of them weren't registered. A lot of them didn't vote in that election. So you didn't vote.
Incredible.
Now you're coming to support the man, but you've supported him all along. I get that. But you were so confident in his abilities that you didn't vote for him. And yet he's not mad at you. He's blaming everybody else. But every single person there, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Because some of them did, but most of them didn't. When you
Yeah.
start pulling those records, and it's like, that's why when I sat there and I said, those aren't Republicans. Like, honestly, I'm
going to take a different tack. Let me take this tack with you. I'm going to say this. I don't even hold it against them. It's like, so I was mad at Megan that day, a little frustrated, of course. But here's the thing. She wants to be a part of the process. Like, she wants to. She was never going to come to political salsa, and honestly, she's just trying to make noise. I think we have an issue where we have a lot of people that are educated with nothing to do with their time. And, or we're reevaluating. We're using our time in poor ways. So like this girl, this young lady, Megan, she just wanted to be a part of something, and as though she was doing it all wrong. And she was, in fact, I was probably the most closely ideological to her. And she had no idea that she was beating me back on my own idea. And I was trying to do something new and fresh and innovative. I almost pity them because she has a lot of know-how. These kids are taught a lot nowadays, and they have nothing really to do. They have very little ways to exercise that. So I think this is how they feel like they're important. And, so it makes me think, do I cut the internet out? Do I say that was a mistake? No, I have to figure out a new way to do it, which is what we're doing now.
I'll tell you, that's incredible, because as you say that, in my mind, and see, this is where this show could go really crazy, because I'm thinking about, just read an article about an author. His name is Green. I'll have to look up the details, but that's why you don't kind of, wing it. But I was reading about the the Housewives of Liberty, or whatever they are.
Okay, Housewives of.
No, this is some kind of group. It's God, I just forgot the name of it. I shouldn't go there. But all I'm saying is they're book banning, and they're conservative group. And I'm like, when did any Republican ever?
Yeah.
I mean, I want to protect children.
Yeah.
I get it.
Limited government.
But when you call a book pornography because it has a situation that was uncomfortable, because you're trying to teach teens that they're not alone, that these are things that might happen.
Yeah. There's a value to that.
So it's a teen book, and now you want it out of the library because it's pornography. You took, just like the Bible, you take a little segment, you say it, it's all true. But if you read your Bible, and that's what I love, because people don't get it, and Maxwell gets it. Like Scott Maxwell gets it because he wrote about it, and that's why it's in my head, because I don't usually agree with him on a lot of things. But this one, 100%. Look, there's more pornography, if you can consider that pornography. There's more pornography in the Bible, and he uses Ezekiel, so he goes right to the prostitute that wants to fondle balls and
is that going on in the Bible?
It's in the Bible. It's like could
have sold that part a little bit more in church. Might have read it. That's interesting.
Well, I mean, there's lots in the Bible, dude. Look I tell you, that's why you gotta learn how to talk about. This is why I like this guy, because he knows me. I like to talk about sex. I have no problem with that. I like to talk about money. A little bit more difficult. I have anxiety when it comes to money because you never have enough. Politics, always politics, and religion. I have no problem. Those are 4 topics that nobody wants.
Those are all the third rails.
No, you can't talk about that.
To me, what are we talking about if not those things? I want to touch them all.
Wait a minute. I want Durex to be my sponsor. You saw because of mindset, right? I want Durex to want to sponsor. I don't have a problem with that. Trojan wants to do it first. They want to outbid Durex. I don't have a problem with that. That's
Is this a weekly thing? Do you call for them every week? I hope there's not. Or have I inspired you?
No, I'm just saying. I could say anything. But my whole thing is, I was really just going to talk about Black history. But even then, it's like amazed, because if I go up here, if you look at my board over here, I keep
Okay.
looking up. We're going to talk about Anthony Johnson, Malcolm X, William Thomas Jr. And how many of those names did you
These are your
recognize?
show topics here. Let's see.
Yeah, that Black History Month.
Shirley Chisholm.
No, those are later.
Oh, okay.
Those are all the people in Black history that I admire.
Okay.
But Martin Luther King Jr. is the only one I will not write about.
Okay.
I will not concentrate on because it
There's it
sickens
about
me.
saturated.
It sickens me when my kids come in and the only one they want to write about in Black History Month is Martin Luther King Jr.
Hmm.
I go, do you know who Frederick Douglass is?
Yeah.
Do you know who W.E.B. Du Bois is?
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Not too many ball players on there too. You got LeBron, you got Michael. Okay.
I got sports, you know.
Mhm.
Look, I got
Oh, here we
Booker
go.
T. Washington, Harriet Tubman, Clarence Thomas,
Clarence
Jackie
Thomas.
Robinson.
Whew.
This one right here, Jackie Robinson, one day of the year in the baseball year.
Uh-huh.
I forget if I think it's on his birthday or one of his milestones. Every single player wears the 42.
Number 42. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And 42 is one of my favorite numbers in all times, anyways. But it's like, how many people would have? He broke the color barrier, and people think, oh, well, that's okay, because then they all just started getting Black players. Like, no, this man had to have the fortitude to not only do that, play the game.
Yeah.
He had to actually figure out what he wanted to portray.
He had to be a special guy because he knew he wasn't even the best, of his.
Yeah, but you're in the spotlight.
Yeah.
If I do this, he's thinking of his whole culture.
Right.
He's thinking of every one of those
Incredible
African
pressure.
Americans or those Black people out there. He's going, if I do this, it will reflect poorly.
Right.
And Jackie Robinson, I have a lot of respect. Colin Powell, first ever ROTCer to become the highest ranking person in the service.
From the Bronx. That's Colin Powell is like a family. My father's a big Colin Powell guy.
Oh, I will tell you stories
That's
about
funny.
Colin Powell. I'm the same way.
Well, you must have been really upset then with the Bush administration, what they did to him, how they ran him out there. That must have upset you. It bothered me. Watch the whole WMD thing.
No,
Watch him go out there and tell us what he knew for sure.
but see, I don't. I don't.
You don't think that tarnished his legacy at all?
No, I don't think it does because I think the way you focus that. No, wait.
Okay.
The way you focus that. At no time do I believe that administration thought anything else. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about this is my crazy theory.
Okay.
You know, all those weapons that we were talking about,
Mhm.
how does it all of a sudden that we are actually seeing them today? We are.
We're seeing them today.
Yes,
The
they're
ones
being
that
used
were-
in Syria.
So the idea is that they were there, but they got them out fast.
Yeah, they moved them.
I guess we don't really know.
Because I was.
We have to take your word
listen,
for it. is the
But I
thing.
was there, right?
Right.
And I know that all we were doing is bombing and bombing and bombing. Look,
Yeah.
I don't think they put him on the spot. CIA believed it,
You believe he believed it then.
and your CIA is the people you have to listen to. It's in the binder, right?
He believed it, then it's
but
it's
now,
less-
but now we're finding out the CIA and the FBI, they have agendas too, which we never thought they did.
some of us did, but we're glad everybody's paying attention now.
No, you
Some
know
of us
what?
always knew they had an agenda.
This is
Going back to MLK again, right?
yeah. I'm telling you that MLK is one of the
They
prime
haven't always
examples.
been the good guys, you know.
You know, Rosa Parks. You know, the Barack Obama, Thurgood Marshall. God, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thurgood Marshall's
I don't.
impressive.
I don't agree with. I don't agree with some of
He's
his
impressive.
stuff, but
I've read a lot of his oral
His-
arguments. He's impressive.
he's like my Antonin
Anthony
Scalia.
Scalia.
Because I mean, when you look at the two of them side by side and you read what they write,
Mm.
you know that they really
Yin and yang.
believe it. I mean,
Opposite ends of the spectrum, but they really believe it.
But then again, Clarence Thomas is he had to go through a whole lot of shit too, and he's going through it again
Clarence Thomas.
because his wife, right?
Controversial. Clarence Thomas.
But when you talk about Scalia, who was his best friend?
Oh, it was Ruth Bader Ginsburg, right?
Yep. They would holiday together. Their families loved each other. They went to one of my favorite photos is them on an elephant when they visited India.
I've seen that image. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like that's why David and I get along. It's like if those polar opposites,
We should make
get
an
along,
award, like a Scalia Ginsburg award or something. You know what I mean?
RGBAS.
You know what they named? Hold on a second. What they named the law school, the Antonin Scalia School of Law.
Yeah.
They renamed the school when he passed away, but the acronym spells asshole.
You can't make this shit up. That's for the next show. But here's one that they want to on my list is one that they want to cancel right there, Malcolm X. And there's a lot of people like, hey, he's a little controversial to be teaching him this so early, it's so young. And like, what?
Well, in the 90s, he became a big deal. I had that Malcolm X hat. I used to wear an African pendant around my neck for a while.
Well, 1963.
I identify with that. I liked Malcolm X because I thought, whoa, this is something different to the peace thing. This guy said, this guy was militant. That kind of appealed to me a little bit.
So let me make sure I pause this.
That's a terrific. That Malcolm X movie was really an all-timer.
Let's see, where am I? Chapter 4. So I need to go to chapter 3. Sir.
Malcolm X.
One of my favorite speeches. If you really listen to it, he's not wrong.
Listen. Yeah.
But you know why that's one of my favorite speeches?
What's that?
Because one of my favorite Black history. Anytime there's Black history, you'll always hear me talk about Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass amazes me. What he went through and what he did. He was a house Negro and he was a field Negro.
I didn't know that. I think I forgot that.
And he lived these
He had a
different
darker complexion.
he lived these different lives. And then when he became a free man, he put his life on the line. I mean, he literally he went to Europe to talk to do speeches over there. He would come back. He was always a threat. He did not agree with Lincoln because Lincoln's, fight for slavery. What's going to happen at the end? And if you really dive deep into Lincoln, his original thought was to send him back home.
Right.
But where's home?
Garvey approach.
But where's home? It was when he talked to some soldiers, and the movie that Spielberg does, Lincoln, is phenomenal because you'll see it if you catch it. It's like towards the beginning, and then right in the middle, you'll see that he has a change of heart, but you never hear that. They don't address it, but you see, what are you fighting for? Freedom. Stops in cold. Totally different direction. But if he could vote, he would have never voted for. He would have never voted for Lincoln. But he did. He was a huge Ulysses S. Grant.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he loved Ulysses S. Grant.
They say Ulysses S. Grant actually also was bigoted and all that as well. I guess he changed over time and after the war. I guess he started taking new information.
But everybody,
Sure, culture was
that's
different back
But
then.
see, this is the thing I get at, right?
Yeah.
And you probably might agree, maybe not.
Okay.
But I think we're a great nation because we've made these mistakes. And it makes me really sad that we've had anybody go through this.
Yeah.
But I also look at how people lived in the past
Mhm.
and how hard it is to live. If you're up in New England, yeah, you can go to go see how the Pilgrims lived, right? How turning butter. That's not getting food on the table.
Mhm.
That is not you. Okay, you just go hit the microwave now.
Sure. Yeah.
No, it took hours. I mean, women didn't work
Right.
because it took from the morning
Right.
to the night, and then the night they still had to prep for the next day.
Mhm.
It was incredible what people did, and that both sides, like men,
The
women.
effort they had to mount in order to do regular everyday stuff. You
And,
mean?
and then we think about ourselves. I just had these kids at the house, and I'm going to cut it off in a minute. But that kids in the house that said, "Where's my internet?"
Yeah. No.
It's like I can't do anything. My internet's out. And I
I
looked at
know.
him. And I said, "Can you pay the bill?"
No, I know. Louis C.K. has this great bit about how people always like to complain about air travel. Like, oh, you mean you just flew through a tube, through the sky, thousands of miles, and you land, and you're going to complain about your similar thing. It's also why I'm cautious when I say,
I can see your lips.
that I'm careful when I say with my opinion on Colin Powell. You know, I may have an opinion, but listen, just like you said, you were there. You know, so I do put that in the scale, and it's like, you know, my opinion.
But see, it didn't piss me off, but it does piss me off. It does piss me off that the party in a whole eliminated him. Did your camera go on?
Someone's calling me, so apparently the camera.
You didn't put the do not disturb on.
Oh, yeah. I gotta work on this. I'll get better at it. I'll get better.
Well, you may not be a guest on the Morning
I
Constitution
might have
again.
shot my shot.
No, you're good. No, it's been a pleasure talking with you because we're going to wrap up here. Just want it's just those really hardcore conversations. But Bush didn't do that to Colin Powell. The Republicans did that to Colin Powell. They didn't come to his support. They didn't come to his aid, and the CIA left him out there hanging. And terrible. But he was never he would never lie to people. Like I knew he was for
Do you
affirmative.
think the country feels that way on the whole? And that is the general.
This is a guy who
feeling you
told.
think?
This is a guy who's in the Republican Party and says, "I believe in affirmative action. It's a needed thing, and that's against the party. Like the
Right.
party's not really for that."
It's a curse.
And he would come out and he would never say. You never knew if he was pro-life or pro-choice, but you always knew he was kind of leaning towards the moderate side. And this is the problem. We need room for these moderates.
Right.
I mean, he's not going to. He supported Barack Obama. I would look. I understand why, but you got to have respect for him. And I'm not angry at the Bushes. Everybody else is angry at the Bushes for the world order or whatever. It's like I don't have time for that. I don't have time to be worrying about that. You know, George Walker Bush. You know what he does?
Paints.
Yeah, he stays on his ranch and he paints. And they beg him for a soundbite, and he gives you a soundbite because he doesn't like Donald Trump. I mean, I wouldn't like him either if he just, decapitated my brother.
Right.
Which I mean, he kind of left himself open for it. So
I'm a Jeb fan.
So I mean,
Guilty. I like
it
Jeb.
killed me because I was so hoping. Like I always liked Jeb better than I like George.
Me too.
So I just to wrap that up, it says I can't. This man, Donald Trump hasn't shut up yet.
We won't besmirch the reputation of Colin Powell here. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but
I'm good with that.
I'm just. I believe in the power of people.
I believe in grace too, by the way.
Yeah.
Like I believe in
Yeah.
people, giving people grace. Things are tough. Things are very difficult. Things are a lot more complicated than we all believe. Give people some grace. Give them some room.
Yeah, but again, people. It's the public opinion, and that's what destroys those things. Like Bush isn't out there trying to do anything.
Public trust, though, to bring it full circle.
He wants to bring soldiers onto his ranch to, disabled soldiers so they can ride bikes. He wants to.
This is what he's doing now.
He wants to paint.
That's great.
He's retired.
Let's do his Jimmy Carter. Let's do some version of Jimmy Carter.
Well, Jimmy Carter, even Jimmy Carter
best
came out of
best pro president ever, or what?
Yeah, but he also came out and did things. He actually did things, which if you really knew how
Did he
the
make
president,
a Netflix special?
if you really knew how the presidents felt about him going over and being a peacemaker, it was you behind the scenes. It's really funny.
Jimmy Carter makes Habitat for Humanity in his post presidency. He does a bunch of things like that.
Yeah,
Right?
oh, no, he's a
Compare
great,
that to some of our most recent presidents. What
best-
they've done with their post
the
presidency.
best post president and the oldest to live. So
I hope we have him back on, Joel. I want to do this some more.
okay, I appreciate it. So, oh wow, you're almost an hour. You know that?
The Morning Constitution.
It's the morning constitution. And let's see, we talked about political salsa, so we don't have to talk about anything else because political salsa is on the schedule. Let's make sure you're ready for it in
July 20.
And we're really excited to bring it to you. Do you want to make any pitches for anybody before we take off?
Not at this time. I just shout out to J&W.
Oh, we appreciate it. Thank you very much. And David,
Thanks for having me.
get out of bed. 'Cause I swear I don't see where you're at. Okay, take care. Yeah, that's awkward, quiet.